absolute heavy hitters of standard comic book lore, are microscopic ants compared to the cosmic entities running the multiverse. The sheer scale of the powers we are about to explore will absolutely blow your mind. Feats like lifting planets or moving faster than the speed of light, that's literal child's play. We're talking about beings who hold entire realities in their hands like wet clay.
So here is our cosmic corporate ladder. We're going to start at tiers 7 and 6 with the managers and VPs, your Skyfathers and new gods. Then we'll move up to tiers 5 and 4, the liquidators and architects, which includes crises entities in the hands. From there, it's up to tier 3 with the natural laws, also known as the endless. Then we hit the co-founders at tier 2, the Demiurgic angels, and finally, tier 1, the studio owners and the canvas, the absolute peak.
All right, let's start our climb at the bottom of the executive ladder. Tier 7 and 6, the managers and new gods. Right down in tier 7, we find the Skyfathers. They hang out in these metaphysical suburbs called the Sphere of the Gods, where belief, magic, and old-school concepts literally pay their rent. These guys aren't just powerful, they're actually kept alive by the daydreams and prayers of mortals. Think of them as universe-scale managers handling magical paperwork. Take Zeus, for example. He's the ultimate patriarch, the lightning battery for the Greek pantheon, and he even provides the Z in Shazam's magical acronym. But, there's a ceiling here. Zeus once got treated like a cosmic snack by Darkseid, essentially losing his lunch money to the neighborhood bully. Then we have Nabu, a lord of order. He's so far beyond a physical body that he just haunts a golden helmet. When someone puts that helmet on, Nabu can alter time and space like he's playing a high-stakes game of SimCity, just desperately trying to keep the universe organized and boring.
Stepping up to tier 6, we meet the vice presidents, the new gods. Here we've got a massive cosmic rivalry. On one side is Highfather. He's basically the cosmic grandpa of faith and freedom, wielding the good vibes of the alpha effect. And on the exact opposite side, true form Darkseid. He's just a multiversal jerk using the omega effects to literally delete people from existence or trap them in terrible alternate lives. What's absolutely crucial to understand here is that the versions of these new gods that fight the Justice League, those are just 3D avatars. Their true forms are so unimaginably massive that if they fully stepped into our reality, they would pop the multiverse like a cheap balloon. No joke.
Now the big thing at this tier is Darkseid's ultimate obsession, the anti-life equation. This isn't a laser beam or a superweapon, it's an actual mathematical proof that says you have no choice but to listen to me. Darkseid doesn't just want to ruin your day, he wants to mathematically prove your day never mattered in the first place. That insane conceptual weight is exactly what separates tier 6 from the tier beneath it.
But as scary as Darkseid is, remember, he's just a VP. Now we move up the ladder to tiers 5 and 4, the liquidators and architects.
So these beings are hanging out way up in the 6th dimension and the omniverse, far past the normal gods. These are the entities who actually build realities and then, decide to burn them down for the insurance money. To do this, they use something called crisis energy. This is power used to literally rewrite history, delete entire universes, and force the whole DC publishing line to reboot. These Tier 5 corporate liquidators look at the collection of infinite Earths like a messy desk that needs to be cleared off. To them, planets and galaxies, just dust bunnies to be swept away so a brand new project can start.
Let's look at who these Tier 5 crisis entities actually are. First up, the Anti-Monitor. This guy is a cosmic grumpy pants who erases universes by absorbing the energy of every single soul he deletes. During his original crisis, he turned infinite universes into an antimatter smoothie, leaving exactly 5 Earths left. He once wrestled the Spectre so hard it birthed a new universe. I mean, come on. Then we have the Darkest Night. Just imagine Batman dialed up to 11 with the powers of Dr. Manhattan. This absolute psychopath used crisis energy to kill the mother of the multiverse and build a nightmare reality called the Last 52. Entities at this level treat the Justice League like annoying flies. But hey, someone had to hire these liquidators, right? That brings us to Tier 4, the Hands, sometimes called Super Celestials. They oversee a very strict cosmic life cycle. Step 1, they build a multiverse from raw cosmic goop. Step 2, they evaluate it. And if they judge the multiverse to be a total dumpster fire, they move to Step 3. They literally hire those Tier 5 crisis entities to liquidate reality. They are the original construction workers and the ultimate judges of the Omniverse. Two of the absolute most terrifying examples of these entities are Perpetua and the Empty Hand. Perpetua is the one who built the main DC Multiverse, but get this, she wanted to weaponize it to fight her own boss. Think of her as the angry mom of the cosmos who takes away the dimension where your Xbox sits. On the flip side is the Empty Hand. This entity is basically a meta joke, representing the end of the story itself. He is the literal hand of a reader, closing the book and putting it back on the shelf. He treats all of DC history like a disposable comic book because he represents the inescapable fact that all stories eventually stop. Which leads us to a pretty profound question. What happens to the gods when the story ends? When the multiverses are deleted, when the books are closed, who is actually left? This question transitions us away from physical and conceptual combat entirely and into absolute, unbeatable natural laws.
Welcome to Tier 3, the Endless Laws.
So, the Endless aren't actually gods, and honestly, they do not care about multiversal reboots or who wins cosmic wars. They are the personifications of basic life functions. They're completely unkillable concepts. Because think about it, if you killed death, nobody dies, which just makes her job a lot harder. Speaking of death, she usually appears as a nice, goth girl. She was there for the very first heartbeat of the universe, and she will literally be the one to lock the doors and turn out the lights at the end. She is so far beyond normal power that when Lex Luthor tried to bribe her with cosmic abilities, she just laughed, because she was completely out of his league. Then there is Destiny, her blind older brother, chained to a massive book containing everything that ever has or will happen. He has already sat through every single cosmic collapse, simply because his book had those events listed on page 4 billion.
So, here is the truly terrifying realization. Destiny doesn't care about your free will or your heroic sacrifices, because to him, it's all just ink that dried a long time ago. Even the terrifying Tier 4 and 5 gods we were just talking about, they're just predetermined script entries to Destiny. He doesn't fight, he just turns the page.
All right, we are pivoting to the absolute top of the corporate ladder now. Tiers 2 and 1, Angels and the Peak.
Here, we leave behind natural laws entirely and meet the actual co-founders and studio owners of existence itself. At Tier 2, we have the Demiurgic Angels. These are the brothers who were created to handle the heavy lifting of building existence from absolutely nothing. Michael Demiurgos is the gas tank. He contains infinite creation inside his body. If he dies, the resulting explosion would wipe out or birth a new multiverse. He is a walking nuclear reactor. On the other side is Lucifer Morningstar, the architect. If Michael provides the bricks, Lucifer provides the instructions. He has the absolute will to shape his brother's energy. And what did he do with this ultimate unfathomable power? Well, he got bored of his father's plan, quit his job ruling hell, cut off his wings, and moved to Earth to run a piano bar. These two bypass all lower rules completely because they provide the energy that makes those rules possible in the first place.
Finally, we hit the ultimate meta shift. Tier 1 entities don't have stats or power levels because they invented the concept of a level in the first place. This is it, the absolute peak. There are no fights here because there is absolutely no one to fight.
At this tier, we find the Presence. If the multiverse is a movie, the Presence is the studio owner who wrote the script before time even began and is currently watching it in a private theater. He is entirely omnipotent and omnipresent. You remember those terrifying multiversal crises we discussed earlier? Yeah, the Presence invented the concept of a crisis just to keep things interesting. Everything is part of his infinite plan. And yet, he stays incredibly humble, often appearing as a friendly old man in a suit, or sometimes just as a dog, while secretly holding every single atom in existence in place.
But there is one final boss. A layer even beyond the characters. The Overvoid, also known as the Monitor Mind. It is the sentient white space of the comic book page itself. It is the literal canvas. Before God, before the multiverse, there was just this infinite, perfect white intelligence. Eventually, it noticed a little chaotic smudge on its surface. It created a probe to investigate it. That microscopic, tiny, chaotic flaw was the entire DC Multiverse.
And that gives us this massive meta-truth to perfectly summarize the mind-bending scale we've just climbed. No matter how big a character gets, they are all just drawings on a piece of paper that could be erased at any second. Every hero, every villain, every crisis entity, and every god is just a tiny bit of ink floating on this infinite white background. To the Overvoid, all of DC history is just a microscopic scab of narrative that it is trying to understand.
Which leaves us with this final, incredibly provocative thought to chew on. If the entire DC universe, with its endless pantheons, cosmic liquidators, and demiurgic angels, is just a single smudge of ink on the Overvoid's massive canvas, what other smudges are out there waiting to be discovered? Well, we've climbed to the absolute top of the corporate ladder today, and hopefully you now have a much clearer view of exactly who is running the show in the DC cosmos. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep asking those big questions, and I'll catch you next time.